Coffee break time, guys. How you doing? And ladies, if you're watching the show. This is coffee break, and we do one of these once a week. And the idea is to take a real life business situation, relationship situation, and I'll share with you the best advice that I can give after walking the planet for all these years and having several successful companies. So, one question I get asked a lot is, should I hire my friends or family, or should I go work for them? What's the benefits? What's the pitfalls of doing that? And so I thought I'd share that with you in kind of a three-part situation, or a three-part video. Let's start with some of the pros. The first one is, your friends, your family, you know these folks, maybe your whole life. You know their backgrounds a little bit or a lot, and you know who they are as people and where they're coming from. And many times you'll know their goals, their dreams, their aspirations. You've sat and talked about it. You know their personal relationships, etc. This gives you a real upper hand in figuring out if they're going to be a good fit, right, with your business or to work with. The second thing is trust. If you've known them, if you trust your brother, your uncle, your nephew, and you know them to be trustworthy, they're a known commodity, all right? They're just not another name on another resume out there. This is a known commodity. You know that your cousin is very trustworthy, very honest, and would be a real asset to have them working with you. So why not take that into consideration? Another benefit, and I think this is huge, is loyalty. You can't put a dollar value on loyalty. It is invaluable to have a loyal person at your side that's got your back, that will look after your best interests because they got those at heart, because they love you, they're their family. Or, you've been best friends for decades, so why not? Consider that a very strong asset to have on your side. Now, when you have people that you know, that you trust, that are loyal to you, what kind of work environment is that going to make? Think about it. It's going to make for a pleasant one, right? Because that you're going to probably have a whole lot less personality conflicts because you're working with known commodities. I don't mean commodity in a bad way, but you know these folks, and you know each other's, Jim is grumpy in the morning. He has been for 20 years and will be for the rest of his life. You know that. This is what I'm trying to say. Or that they, Phil always comes through, or Mary is always going to be punctual. I can count on her. This is invaluable in any business situation where you're working as a team. The more cohesive the team, the better one another relates with, so much the better. Here's another advantage. True life story. When I first started my very first company, I actually hired my mother. And she did telemarketing work for me, and she did it for a very small amount because she wanted to help me get started. And friends and family have been known to help people by taking a little bit less money in order to help launch your business, to help you get started, because they want to see you successful. And, ultimately Mom was compensated for it. The business took off, and, it worked out. And we had a good relationship there, and she got proper compensation. Had it not been for her, I probably wouldn't have been able to get the thing off the ground. So I speak from experience, saying that that's certain. I'm not saying that's, look, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying hire friends and family because they work cheap. That's not what I'm, no, that's not what I'm trying to say here, okay? But I'm trying to say that they might be willing to help out if things are a little tight getting started, or, you got a special project you need to get done, you don't quite have that budget. That is also a valuable thing to take into consideration. So next we're going to talk a little bit about maybe reasons that you shouldn't. Wife and I are going to get some takeout food. We're lucky because we practically live right across the street from one of the best restaurants in town. It's a fish place. They got great food. And it's just so convenient to call in and order and get takeout. It's called the Galley. And they always just do a whale of a business. They got some of the best fish you could, ask for going. It's just really incredible. And the prices are fairly reasonable. That's the thing when you're just with me and my wife, no kids or anything at home, and I work a lot of hours. A lot of times we just don't feel like cooking a meal. It's just super convenient to go over here and get something to eat. I'm going to go ahead and flip over to the front camera. It's like I said, it's literally across the street, which is really cool. I mean, how convenient is that? Oh, look at that Corvette over there. That is bad. Of course, finding a parking spot is a bit of a challenge. This place is always packed, especially this time of night. Yep, especially this time of night. I'm going to go ahead. A parking spot. There we go. Let's see if we can't pull her in here. That's another thing. They always make these parking spots too narrow. Look at that El Camino. That is really super sharp. Hello, takeout for Naylor.
I'll go see if it's ready.
Dinner is purchased and now to back out. Again, these parking spots are pretty tight. See, Americans love big vehicles. Some of these pickup trucks that I see around here are bigger than my first apartment. No kidding. I mean, a family of 7 could live in one of these things. We like our big vehicles. Yeah, but oh, I gotta show you this. Hang on. Our McDonald's, our local McDonald's, they're tearing it down and they're getting ready to build a new one. So I thought I'd show that to you. I'm just going to pop in over here, the parking lot, so you guys can check this out. That is the McDonald's right there. They've torn it down, or they're in the process of tearing it down. That's one day. That's what the guys did in one day. And they even left the Playland equipment down there. Check that out. Still in there. They didn't remove all of it. I'm not sure what they're going to do with it. Now, let me make a counterpoint to hiring friends and family. And number one, people's work personality is going to be a whole lot different than at home or in a relaxed atmosphere, like hanging around with friends. Let me give you an example. My grandfather was a really tall, kind of lanky kind of guy, worked at a steel mill. But when he got home, and he would be very dirty, first thing he'd do is shower, be super clean. His house was pristine, and he was very quiet, never swore. Then one year I got a job at the same factory he did over the summer, and I heard a guy coming up to the building that I was taking a break in, swearing at the top of his lungs. I mean loud, deep, bellowing swearing. Turned out to be my grandpa. Look, some friends and family members, if you hire them to work for you, will try to take advantage of that relationship. They may start coming in late. They may start asking for personal loans. Heck, they may even have to ask you to bail them out of jail. But they're going to be asking for things and making assumptions based on that relationship, favors that you probably wouldn't grant a run-of-the-mill employee. Have you ever heard the expression, familiarity breeds contempt? That can happen. The longer that you're kind of around people you're very familiar with, the more contempt they may begin to display for you on the job. And that can be very detrimental to your business. There is a lot of truth in that comment, in that old saying. I don't know where it came from or who said it, but there's a lot of truth to it. There's another point to familiarity. Maybe I'm not pronouncing it quite right. And that is that it can create a lax attitude at work. More, well, hey, we're friends, we're buds. He won't care if I'm going to maybe slacking off a little bit today. When the reality is, that's simply not true. It can hurt your business a lot. Remember when I said one of the reasons you might consider hiring a family member or friend is they might work for a little bit less in the beginning? Well, they may also expect something back in return. Maybe some loans or additional favors that you wouldn't grant anybody else. Keep that in mind as well. Another thing to consider is they know your hot buttons. They know which buttons to push. So if you get into a disagreement, they know exactly how to go for that jugular if they want to. And that can create a very bad situation at work. Friends and family, they know the scoop. They know about your history, your past, whatever. And they know the things that can piss you off. So keep that in mind as well. And I think the biggest thing of all, because I've been through this personally, is that a disagreement at work will not just stay at work. They will bring it with them. So if you're a family member at reunions, holidays, whatever, that could come up. Some people cannot differentiate between work and home, and it's all kind of one thing, and that argument's just going to keep right on going. If you're friends, maybe you're having a beer, watching a ball game, whatever, that argument's going to come back up again, or that friendship and that relationship may die because of a dispute at work. These are just some of the reasons I think it's not always a great idea to hire friends or family at your business, or maybe even work with friends or family going forward if you're working for somebody else. On the third part of this video, or this, whatever you want to call it, coffee break, we'll talk about some of the best advice I can give when it comes to this matter. Here we are, getting ready to get our haircut. Why are you smiling like that?
You want me to cry?
Yeah. You good? You see how it's all poofy? Just, it doesn't grow, it doesn't...
Just do your thing.
And then suddenly it's just boom.
Good God, do it if you're going to do it.
Okay, so this is the third act, so to speak. And here I'm going to give you my best advice. Now, when you're looking to hire friends or family, or maybe work for friends or family, there are certain things that I think most businesses look for. Two kinds of basic types of employees. One, the kind of employee that is told what to do and they do that job. But the other type is somebody that we look to tell us what to do. Maybe we're not that strong in areas such as accounting, for example, so we want to hire somebody to tell us what to do to make sure things are working correctly. Make sure to look at that person's experience and how it can complement your business. Hiring somebody to do a job which they have no experience in simply because they are a friend or they're a family member is not going to work out well for either one of you. One thing I think is very essential if you're going to go down that path is to make sure that you set boundaries. This is work and this is our friendship, our relationship outside of work, but have very clear boundaries and as of what to expect from one another when you hire someone or you go to work for somebody. Whatever you do, don't hire someone out of pity. That's going to be a very bad decision. One other thing is to make sure you set the rules up front when it comes to things like favors or you know, doing things for this person that you wouldn't normally do for an employee. Let them know right up front what you expect. Ultimately, it's about making the best decision for your company. It's about making the best decision for your career, and making the wrong decision, especially in this area, can make all the difference between a profitable business or one that's infighting, maybe losing money, and not working out. Not to mention broken friendships and strained family relationships. Well, that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video.